We're here for a reason, right?
I don't know. I was just going to meander for the next half hour or so.
I mean, it's usually what we do.
Hello. Welcome to Isn't It Obvious? I will be your host for today's episode. I'm Micah. I'm joined by Sarah and Phil, as always, and will be forever. My topic for the day is, we haven't made our cult yet, isn't it obvious that it's easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
As depressing as that is.
Absolutely.
Maybe. Although, you're saying this like I don't have a very good imagination. I feel like both of these scenarios are pretty easy.
Then what replaces capitalism?
Could be anything.
You have a vivid imagination.
I do.
Please.
Okay, well, in scenario 1, capitalism and, well, we're just going to say U.S. falls, right? So there's like a civil war and communism takes over. Or
why would we have communism take over if we have a civil war?
Or a brand of
everyone what everyone
depends
knows here
on what spurs,
is capitalism.
It depends on what spurs the civil war.
If we eat the rich, we're still going to have capitalism.
Potentially, unless it becomes like a weird like combination of like socialist, capitalist, like...
But that's still not the end of capitalism.
Okay, fair. But is anything... Oh, so what you're saying...
End of capitalism.
Yes,
You're saying capitalism gone. Oh, well, no. That would... Humanity would not exist. That's just human nature to be selfish and create for profit. So, no.
What about what was Star Trek's economic fiscal policy? Was it capitalism still?
No, they were military-based utilitarianism. They did not have currency, and they got rid of that in like the 21st century because there's a discovery of the replicator. So there really was no need for a want because you could make anything anyone needed by just deatomizing basic components and reatomizing them into food or drink or whatever. There's no payment. It's just you work your way up into the military because that was the primary means of expansion, and then you just go to different places.
Why would people work as waiters and stuff like that then?
Exactly. Why would anyone
Because there's still a need, and some people do enjoy that. Because you go to restaurants, you need waiters. Some people enjoy waiting at tables.
So capitalism and Star Trek...
this in this weird fantasy world, who fucking actually enjoys waiting tables?
Well, it's like in The Expanse, too, where you have to...
Please, hold my beer. No.
So The Expanse on Earth has a hybrid capitalist socialist nature where you still have capitalism, but it's on megacorps. But megacorp subsidizes every other human being on Earth. But in order for you to gain advancement, you have to go to work to prove that you will contribute to the society. So you have to wait when you're 18, 19, 20 in order to even apply to college. So you get an education, so you can start actually participating in the capitalism of that future.
Okay, that sounds... I don't like that. It sounds too real.
But that's still capitalism, so...
Yes, but I'm just in the
Expanse.
Yes.
But
the Star Trek one, I guess...
that also doesn't work in my head.
Well, if we had a replicator where we could just make anything, that certainly changed, because then there's no drive for capital.
No, that's not true at all, because the replicator still needs to exist, right? So people have to, it's a machine, right? Yeah. And it's not without potential malfunction.
Sure, but the fact that you
needs to be somebody has to perform maintenance on this thing.
Sure, and starships also need maintenance.
Yeah.
But a replicator makes a replicator.
So there's still a need for jobs.
But it's not for capitalism. You need these things because it's what needs a functioning society to work.
Yeah, but
so
what's motivating people to do that?
Because they get access to the replicator, so they get what they need.
Okay, so replicator becomes a new currency, basically.
But it's not a currency.
It kind of is. It is. Yeah. It's a fake thing that people want.
I could see maybe like how instead of waiters, they're actually like holodeck people serving
credits to use the fucking replicator?
No, but think of Whoopi Goldberg's character in The Next Generation.
Yes.
She's just a bartender.
But she's also like super wise and can tell the difference between the space fabric
because she's an alien.
Yeah. She predicted the Borg and stuff.
Well, yeah, that's not that hard to believe. If you create a machine that self-replicates, eventually it will self-replicate everything.
Yeah, and she's also,
Tell that to Jean-Luc Picard.
This I don't believe that this would actually exist. There's too much demand and not enough want to do these service jobs.
But
you need to motivate people in some way.
But one of the aspects of current capitalist tendencies that we have is an artificial limitation of goods, where It's been shown many times that at Amazon warehouses, if something doesn't sell or gets like spikes a few times, they'll just start throwing out perfectly good bits.
Yeah.
They'll throw out computers, they'll throw out toys, they'll throw out whatever just into a dumpster to make an artificial scarcity.
Yeah.
So they can jack up the prices and pad their profit quotas.
I think I saw a picture of like
Curable.
a bunch of, those little children's toys that look like a car and kind of like scoot. It's just like a handful of them.
Oh God.
It's because you can't just sell them. You can't.
You can't sell them for what you made them for. There's no profit there.
Yeah.
And if there isn't that need, if you're not making a profit, it's easier to have them go to waste. Think of grocery stores that instead of selling their gonna spoil in 2 days meat at $1 just to get rid of it and actually feeding people, they throw it out and then have to get police to guard their dumpsters. So people that cannot afford the $10 for a pound of meat don't steal their food out of their dumpster.
Yeah, because they'll get sick and potentially die.
But they could just
Unless it's winter in Minnesota, in which case
but they
be
could
okay.
sell it for cheaper. Or like Dunkin' Donuts, at the end of the day, they will throw out all of the donuts that didn't sell. You can give that away, but it's not profitable.
Exactly.
So without that desire for profit, like people suffer because of it.
Yep.
It's also like the lawsuits too, right? Like if you get sick from it, you could get
Sued.
You can easily have a clause where if like
you could
if a store sells it the day it expires in air quotes and somebody has like
food
you
poisoning.
can show it'll be like, well, but in that situation I would assume we'd also have universal health care.
The other day
in which case that people who have food poisoning can go to a hospital without fear of being bankrupted.
Well, that's a fantasy. Universal healthcare doesn't exist anywhere. I mean, it just doesn't. You can't make it happen. It's just not possible.
Free healthcare? No, will
It's
not.
logistically
will not
impossible.
exist. Yeah.
All those places you're just mentioning are just from Lord of the Rings.
But it's not free.
We already subsidize the medical system in America.
That's what I'm saying. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's not free.
But isn't that
Sarah was being facetious.
Okay, all right.
I wasn't. Yeah, it's kind of depressing to think about it. A world
it's also
without
on the same vein of like serfs in 15th century France couldn't imagine a day without the monarchy. Like God put them there, so like we have to have a king. Like I'm gonna till this field.
I'm being oppressed.
Well,
we're an anarcho-communist.
I think though that the idea of capitalism isn't just capitalism. It's also just human greed. It's just human desire to create and consume. So that feeds into capitalism. That's just human nature. Whereas like monarchy isn't human nature.
So if you had a bunch of people that
efficient. It's like an efficiency thing. Monarchy is like an efficiency capitalism, if that makes sense.
What?
Yeah.
So sorry. Let me. It's
monarchy
easier.
is efficient capitalism.
It is because it's much easier when you have one person who gets to make the decision instead of having...
is slavery like an easier capitalism?
Shit, is slavery capitalism?
Yes,
yeah, it is actually in a
capitalism.
way. In a way.
Not for the slaves, right? Those guys are screwed.
No, because they're property.
Yeah.
So they're a good to be sold and bought.
So in a way, and so what I mean is
do work for you and you make all the profit. It's a human machine.
But here's the thing: monarchy and capitalism aren't mutually exclusive.
Oh yeah,
because you can still have a monarchy and be a capitalist society. It's just
because one's an
the
economic
king
form,
gets to,
one is a
well, that's the thing is
governmental
this is why I'm saying it's an
structure.
efficient. This is why I'm saying it's an efficient.
It's not efficient
because the king can just be like, and we're just gonna do this now,
and
then
the peasants can kill the king.
True, that also happens,
No,
and this is why
and
then they install another king
a
because this new king
democracy.
is not gonna
This is
kill
why
him.
a democratic capitalist society is not as efficient. It's very slow moving.
We're a republic capitalist society.
Whatever.
A representative republic capitalist
Good
society.
point. Good point. But
that
you know what I'm saying?
the ruling class will make more caveats to make sure that those that have capital will have way more ease in.
But even in
making more capital,
even in this fictional democratic capitalist society, it's still not as efficient as one person calling the shots because you have to get everyone together to vote, and then you have to collect all those votes, count them, audit them, and just.
We can leave that last one out because that's just an aberration of 2020.
This is true.
And 2000.
But you still, it's not as quick as one person calling the shots, and that's.
But that one person.
That's why I say it's just
the one
monarchy
person,
is an efficient capitalist.
There's no capital there to be made.
What do you mean?
What's the capital of the king making a decision? What's your capital?
Well, they just take all
people.
They just take all the gold.
There's still capital.
What gold? Do peasants ever get gold?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
they get their grain taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
okay.
they still have money to trade and stuff. Yeah, don't they?
Serfs don't. No.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, that's
they're
the
basically
thing.
slaves. But
So jeez. So for the slave and the serfs and our modern day peasants, which is basically everyone, but that's not
but
the
they
1%.
they still need.
80% of our population.
Yeah. Oh, that's charitable.
Yeah.
They still have trade goods. Like they still have villages. And
Trade
they
goods,
still,
yes, but
like,
trade goods in a barter system is not capitalism.
isn't it?
Bartering
Because
is not capitalism?
I was gonna say it is though. Because
Kind of is.
It sure
No,
is.
because you don't-
Sure fucking is.
I say kind of, and Sarah seems to be a little bit stronger than kind of. So
Capital is basically just credits in place of goods, right? It is. That's exactly what it is. Credits are just an arbitrary like assigned value to something. Sometimes it's gold, but it's in place of.
But gold still has a value.
it's like salt.
Does
Like
like
salt.
Salt's a good currency ish,
But bartering-
it's consumable, which
But
is.
those aren't standardized. Where capitalism strives to standardize those
That's
things.
what I'm saying. Is you standardize it to make it efficient instead of trading goods. So you're.
But monarchies usually don't do that unless they're dealing with other monarchies.
But
the
the
serfs
people-
don't get the serfs still have to barter.
Yeah.
So if the three of us are in different villages under the same
it's
king,
not that-
my grain is worth less in your city, but more in your city.
Two sheep for one grain.
But then you
Yeah.
have merchant class, and they also deal in currency.
But that's the establishment of capitalism.
still in a
after
monarchy.
the Renaissance.
Still in the monarchy.
Nah,
though.
I think
No,
that
post-Renaissance is the fall of the monarchy. As soon as you start having people who have this fictional thing
Or
called
maybe
money,
oligarchy. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
oligarchy is just a government controlled by those who have the means of production.
is capitalism
Still,
based on the fact that it has to compound, right? Like, because I think that the idea of interest in your usury or whatever you call it, it wasn't invented until modern time, and not modern
No.
times, but like maybe.
Because Christians couldn't.
Yeah, it was-
Christians couldn't charge interest on loans, but
Okay, so like maybe.
Jewish people could, which is why they started banks.
Okay, fair enough. So it's like a couple thousand years ago.
Because Christians can't charge interest on other Christians.
that's
Really?
No, that's not Christians. It's,
That's
I thought
why-
it was Islamic.
Also, though,
Well,
I think.
it's Abrahamic,
Abraham.
but it's New Testament on it. It's
Okay,
Christians
wait.
and maybe I'm not sure about Muslims.
It absolutely is,
For-
and that's strictly strictly
Yeah, when
enforced.
Catholicism was the rule of
whereas
the land.
Christians don't
Yeah.
enforce it at all.
No,
Oh,
they
good.
did.
Good for them.
They must have. Okay.
When Rome was when the papal Rome
I believe
was the
that.
center of power for Europe, the usury laws were punishable. Like a Christian could not charge interest on another Christian for a loan.
I mean, that sucks for all those payday loan vendors that are charging 300% or 3,000%.
Way back in the day,
Yeah, but that's why you get like
early
the one
the
world
early
order.
Roman Empire.
Early Rome.
But that's
Give me
the
all your
origin of like
donkeys.
Yeah,
the oh god, what is it? Something of Zion.
the Zion
a lot of,
movement.
No, the Jewish conspiracy that they run everything was because they
Oh.
established banks because just
Oh,
old
sure.
ingrained racism because
Yeah.
they made money because they could charge interest,
Well-
but no Christians could do that amongst each other.
Yeah, I guess my
Until they decided
Yeah,
to
until
fuck
they just
that
did.
noise, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we're doing it now.
First,
We're gonna make money."
actually,
Well,
don't-
also like Rome was like, we can make oh.
I don't disagree with the idea of not charging interest. I feel like that's a really shitty thing to do to someone. It's like, hey, you want money? Like now you owe me 3% a
Yeah, but
year.
you're-
It seems like a pretty shit
you
deal.
don't get money for free. That's the thing.
Well,
So you're taking
the
a
loan of that is, you need $100. I have $500. I will give you this for a 10% increase
And you
because
can
I
have
can't
it
just
now.
give you $100 and then get $100 back. What am I gaining off of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Unless
know.
we're,
I mean, that's
maybe-
more
unless we're the
capitalistic.
unless
Yeah.
we're the best buddies ever, and
Right.
like I can trust you to give me $100 back.
Or you're making Amazon and you just keep taking money
Oh,
even though you're just
Jesus.
hemorrhaging money.
So wait, we actually need this system then? You need to have interest-based systems in order for our
To an
system
extent,
to work?
it's a matter of the
You
exploitation.
don't need
Like,
it. You
free
don't
market
need it.
capitalism is the grossest thing because it can be exploited in so many ways.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to charge interest, but why would you give away money?
But it
that-
could be. It could be.
What's the incentive for someone to share their wealth with you who might need it?
The
without,
compound interest.
Without,
I feel is
without
where it gets bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
that's what I'm
the
saying.
whole
Don't
idea.
abuse it. But like,
But if it's
what's-
like, hey, here's $100 of my 500, give me 110 back.
Yeah.
That's
And
still
that's the
an
deal.
interest, but
That's a one-time nice thing.
But see, that's you wouldn't do that between friends or family. But if it's like, hey, stranger who I've never met, like we've never met, but I know you have money and I really
Okay.
need money now. Can you lend me $100? And you're like, sure, as long as you pay me 110 back.
as
you have a
opposed to
deal?
like 3%
Deal.
interest every day.
And if you don't pay me my 110
compound
back,
interest.
Yeah.
I'm coming after you.
Yeah. You better not like your knees anymore,
Yeah.
pal. Like,
And then it gets.
Let me tell you, this rake isn't just for picking up leaves.
what's it for? Well, don't
It's
pay
for
me my
raking up all the
$110.
money that I'm going to make off of you.
Damn it. That's a good one.
It's actually to make sure your prostate functions properly.
Oh.
That's the other end.
No, it's not.
Damn, I better give him his money.
You're gonna be shitting pancakes till you die.
I think the problem I have is that that's kind of a fee, right? Like here's $100, and then the fee is $10 extra.
Sure,
So give me
but think of
110.
it where I make shoes. I spend my days making shoes. You come to me, and I say the shoes were $50.
It didn't cost you that much to make, but your
True.
labor.
But the time into it and all of that, like there is a sense where
thing.
where like the representation of work and expertise boiled into a fictional currency has its purpose, I feel, in our evolution.
Yeah, because you got to standardize what the
But now we're
values
at the point where that idea is only running into like cliffs to fall off of, and we're not finding the path forward. But what's the path forward? Because it's easier to imagine this world going boom than it is that we won't have a fictional currency that represents our expertise and time spent in whatever career we're in.
Wait, are you saying that we as a society don't have a goal as a society?
Yes, we just we're
yeah, of course.
petulant children who care about jerking off more than we care about working together.
The society, that's the thing, is society is for convenience. That's the point of a society, is for convenience. So
Security.
Same with that.
I think
Same
the
with
number
that.
one point of a society is security. Convenience is a capitalist lie.
No, I think it's very convenient.
We don't need guaranteed 2-day deliveries from Amazon.
That's convenient.
Because
but
solely
here's
convenient.
the thing. Okay.
Does that have to come with the human suffering of 8 people that died in Illinois because of a tornado because Amazon wouldn't let them go at the threat of firing them?
So
because the other people need convenience?
It's not that convenient.
That's up to the lawyers to decide.
That's not the convenience I'm talking about.
Which also gross.
The convenience I'm talking about is it is really difficult to live as an island by yourself when everything you have to create to live is on your shoulders. It is much more convenient to live in a society where there's people who specialize in making their expert items that you can then, feed into that system. Because, I can tell you, I could certainly paint my house. I certainly could get a drill and build something like a table, but why would I put that much effort in? It's so hard for me to do that thing. Why can't I just hire that out? This is why it's convenient to live in a society, because of specialization.
What does that painting of walls, what does that new table, what does that do to progress our society?
Well, having a table is sure nicer than eating off the ground. It's also a lot cleaner. Having
but an old table will be just fine, or a table you make.
Having walls that aren't, just drywall. Someone has to make the drywall. Let's be honest, I can't make a drywall. Do I have to make a clay hut? Because that's pretty much the technology I would be able to do by myself. That's still a lot of fucking work, Micah, to do myself. I am a weak noodle-armed human.
What do humans need to survive?
Part peach.
The base minimum.
Food,
the base minimum.
shelter, and probably some social network.
Clean water.
Clean water.
And social.
Food,
Food is
water.
part of water.
Food, water, things you need to live.
No, because...
And it has to be a reliable and clean source, which is also difficult. So how am I going to get clean water? Am I just going to rely on the rain?
No, that's not really that clean.
That's not going to work.
So, in this hypothetical...
Also, what am I going to collect it in?
Sky juice? Nah.
So in this
Gatorade.
hypothetical...
This is without society.
We lose everything. That's what you're saying. We lose everything. We do not look at the history that we have. We do not have what we have at this point. We lose everything.
Yeah.
No, we don't. Because we still have these things. The whole point with the Star Trek analogy is, sure, there'll be waiters, because not everyone wants to cook, but you still want to go to a place where food is made for you by people who cook.
Yeah,
because
who
there are
wants to
people who
be
cook.
the waiter?
Because that's their expertise.
But who wants to do that?
Yeah.
People who enjoy cooking.
Okay, yeah, for other people, so they can get bitched at by some fucking Karen, who's not, super happy about her.
Sure, but what happens every Monday?
People get drunk.
I don't know. It's Monday. What do you mean?
What do we do on Mondays?
Oh, we go to
play D&D,
yeah.
And dinner is usually made because humans need to eat. But that type of thing, I don't enjoy cooking.
Yeah, but
I
that's
would not
for
want to.
friends or family. Who would do this for a fucking stranger? No one. No one.
People
People
do.
suck.
But people do.
Yeah, for money.
Okay.
For money, Micah.
So,
I would not make food for some random person that I didn't know.
enjoy my meatballs, asshole.
Hey, I'll gobble them.
And then just throw meatballs in their face.
Just chuck meatballs.
Yeah.
No. So like, okay, fantasy Star Trek land, like maybe there's some other like reason why people would do this for free. I can't imagine.
Actually, I don't think
that.
they ever really show restaurants, but
They
I
did.
just go back to the Whoopi Goldberg being the
Yeah,
bartender.
there
are
is.
people who enjoy bartending.
Or is that the canteen or something? But
No,
she's
there
still
was
a-
this episode where Picard like was gonna meet up with this woman, but then stood her up, and then he went to Starfleet instead of actually being with her, and then he could have had a vineyard.
Yeah, so there's a restaurant.
And so
So there's
then-
still a
He
commerce.
still ends up having a vineyard, though.
So technically,
know,
there's
that's
still
nice.
there's still commerce. It's just not
On planets.
currency. Like,
Yeah.
But
but
it-
it's
Because they got rid of money.
but
But
like
how?
there's
Why
yeah
would
like
they-
what
Because
are
again,
they?
if you need anything, the replicator just makes it.
Sure, but
So I
then-
don't know if restaurants actually
But you
exist because
still
you just have replicators.
you still
Yeah.
need people to fill service.
I
though.
think those are holodeck
So
people.
you have to
I'm almost pretty sure that they are
fake people.
fake people that use light and matter
So-
in order to generate a thing that looks like a person, but is just like an illusion.
But you still need people to maintain
Well,
it
so
unless you.
in the Star
The
Wars universe,
holodecks
the
can
human
do that.
population is only like 2,000 people.
Probably. I mean,
Oh, God,
how
it's
many
the
of
Matrix,
Redshirts
isn't it?
died?
It's the Matrix. You knew it.
I-
I don't know. It's a fictional
But are the
world,
red
so it's
shirts
kind of
also
hard to.
holodeck people? Because they're always wearing red.
Why don't they just have everything holodeck? The
'Cause-
crew,
Why have
the
people?
ships,
Why have
the
people
people,
anyway? Yeah.
the torpedoes.
They're
Because
just-
holodecks are flawed because they're based on people. Where
doesn't-
people have to be accountable to other people. But holodecks are only based on
you
one.
still are missing the big motivator here. I guess that's what I'm.
So
we do because we have to. Because it's what we do. If we have it where
You need an
our
arbitrary
set goals in
sense
life. No, it's not arbitrary. If we have it where all of our needs are met and there is no reason to strive for accumulating as much as we possibly can, what do we do in
or
that
as
situation?
much as is comfortable for
Oh,
us.
no. You have to think of the exploiting people too. You're
Okay.
right, humans are greedy.
Yeah, I'm
But
not that greedy.
What?
I
right.
just want enough to live comfortably.
Yeah, and
that's
Jeff
literally all.
Bezos built a yacht
Yep.
that can store his old yacht in it.
Damn.
Yeah, he also built a big penis to get to the
Well, hey, when your
Space.
dick's 3.5 inches long, you do whatever it can to
But-
try to impress anyone.
And here's the
pretty
thing:
impressive
is this is
to
what
be
there's different
Yeah,
types
Colonel
of people. There's people who are
Spaceships.
gonna
No,
strive
just
until they're driven by greed, and that's their goal is to get as much as they can and consume as much as they
But
can.
the system we
and
have
then there's
encourages
people,
that.
yes, and then there's people like me who I think most people are just like, I just want enough.
So how do we not have those people who just want to gobble
Oh,
up
well, we
everything?
just have to murder those people.
Murder
Really?
hobos.
I'm so glad you've come around to my billionaire idea.
No.
Did I tell you my billionaire
Absolutely
idea?
not.
We are not
We're
endorsing
not doing
murder.
this. We are not
No,
actually.
it's not
this
murder.
was a joke.
It's
this is not for
A
real.
social sacrifice for those
Micah
that have won the
might be
capitalism
legit.
game.
This is murder.
No, it's not.
Micah's idea
Murder.
is terrible. It's
It's a great idea.
it's a terrible idea.
It's a phenomenal, hour-long Black Mirror episode. Because honestly,
Micah's
where am I
fictional worlds
wrong?
are just horrifying.
You're not wrong.
Where am I wrong?
You're
It's just
wrong.
murder.
No, if you have a net wealth of over $1 billion, your name is put into a lottery at the end of the year, and you are sacrificed for the greater good, and your immediate family is
Who's
sacrificed for the
greater?
greater good.
Who's greater?
Everyone
Immediate
else, because
family?
every
Yeah.
you can't have nepotism happen there.
It's like Like,
Have you
War
read the
crime.
lottery? I suggest reading the lottery. It's very fun.
Micah's fictional world is terrible, and it's just
No, it's
good.
not. Because here's the thing. You'll have no billionaires.
Yep.
You'll have a hell of a lot of 100 millionaires. But as soon as anyone gets over $1 billion, like, shit, I gotta give it away. So then that will benefit other people.
Except-
People that win the capitalism game now have to figure out how to not die in order to benefit those that were fucked because of the capitalism game.
No.
I
I think your logic's.
Did we not learn
terrible.
anything from Squid Game?
No, because it's also a stupid fucking idea.
No.
Terrible idea.
The thing about Squid Game is how so many tech bros are like, well, it's not about capitalism.
Yeah,
Even though it's
that's right.
explicitly about how horrible capitalism is.
Yeah,
The point of the goddamn show.
What you're
no,
saying
it's
is
not. It's about drama, and it's about people acting in tough situations. And
So what you're saying is it's about capitalism, and
Except the end of
capitalism's
the episode
terrible,
is the guy
and
is
humanity's
just like,
terrible because we're wired for capitalism.
we're not wired for capitalism.
Oh, yeah, we
Why
are.
did we spend 100,000 years about capitalism?
Oh, there was still
Yeah,
there was,
bartering.
Yeah,
but
there
it was about
still,
needs. It wasn't about excess. And if there was one guy,
I disagree.
if
with
there was
that.
one guy who was just like, I'm gonna take all the cows. I have a cow? No. That person would be murdered because people need cows.
I think that there's a problem with
Your ideas aren't quite
no.
accurate.
I think that there's a trade-off, right? Like if you're in a hunter-gathering society, it'd be really hard to own all the horses, right? And then everyone else is like, I wish I had a horse. Oh, Horse Bob has all the horses. Sorry. It's like, well, your village
Bob.
only has like 100
Yep,
people.
that great Sumerian leader, Horse
Horse
Bob.
Bob.
And then it's like, Bob, can you give us some fucking horses? It's like, no, I got all the horses. It's like,
In his defense, it's pronounced Bob.
So the
There's
reason
no way.
the
There's no
reason
way the guy could get away
we
with
had again the reason we had monarchies or chiefs or a single leader was for efficiency because
Security. Because monarchies are horribly inefficient.
okay, when they get really big, yes.
Yeah, they're horribly inefficient.
When they get really big, but
My son will take
about,
over. I was smart enough to run this, but he's murdered like 3 of our wait staff
Not when
at
you're
this
trained
point.
your whole life, but no, that's okay. You're making like up this. That's not to say that this hasn't happened, but I'm like that's not what originally the Lord was for. Like the Lord.
The Lord was the bread keeper.
Yeah, the Lord was the bread keeper. Actually, that's what they.
I don't know this.
Okay, so there's like a English. Whatever.
No, read your trivia question.
My trivia question is what 4-letter English word that comes from the I don't know, Welsh or something word for it was like
Bread keeper.
Yeah, for bread keeper. What 4-letter? It was Lord.
Wow.
Flachword or whatever is the word. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I did my best anyway.
Half of Wales just rolled over in their grave.
They probably did.
No one alive cares, but the great ones in the grave, they really cared.
You just put a magnet on them?
They're like, she
Is that a
tried.
coil?
She
Get them
tried.
to
She
be
tried.
turbans.
Actually, you hook over one arm and there's somebody can just rip it up. Be like, they rolled over in their
But like
grave.
in the Warring States
I wanted
period,
to
when there were
generate-
like tribes of people fighting for territory and stuff, it was just a lot easier to have a chief or a lord who was in charge of the castle and the men and the women and the children and stuff, and like they kind of just ran it because that was security and that was the easiest way to do it, and it was the fairest in quotes way for them to just live.
But would you say that lifestyle was still capitalism though? Because they owned all of the land. They owned all of the
No one under the king owned everything.
The king, yeah. Anything the sun touches is yours, Simba.
So
Wait, how does
I
that make
would
sense?
say there was still
Because the Lion King is
there
Macbeth.
was certainly still
Just Macbeth.
resources
Except
and
for slightly different.
and labor that was because the Lord obviously
So stuff needed to get done, and those under the Lord had the security as their incentive in order to harvest the grain, even though it's backbreaking work.
Ah,
it's basically food then is the currency.
But it's not a currency if it's a necessity.
It's
People need food.
yeah, well then they just changed that to money to make it a standard.
As soon as the way you secured things was the establishment of capitalism.
wait, so
Money just made buying food
But
and
you're
other
not,
goods
you're not
easier.
No, you used to trade tangible goods. That's not capitalism.
I
because
disagree.
capitalism
I
is a
think it is.
representation of what it is.
wait a
But
minute.
it's the same thing.
But it's not gold. You can't eat gold, but then gold can get
but
you
gold
goods.
is you're right.
But
it's
gold
a,
fluctuates
it's-
depending on where you are.
But what are you gonna use gold for other than bartering for things you need to live?
Oh,
Dental
pretty
work.
shiny. Yeah.
Dental work. Okay, you're right. That's
But it's
really
still a need. No,
It is
okay,
used.
it's the only thing is okay if you want pretty shinies, but what's the point of having pretty shinies except just have them?
To court other people and to say,
So
yes,
use
you
your
sir,
pretty shiny to get
madame.
other things you need.
Exactly. It's just
But you're
fucking-
still
it's
getting
a
the
substitute.
Okay,
it's
wait.
literally a standardized substitute for the things you're literally just you only have them to ultimately get food, shelter, and safety.
So is it?
Literally the only reason you have these stupid things.
So I would argue then that based off my limited knowledge of what
Until
money
you have
markets
the
and
excess.
capitalism is, that even those lords of the old were capital, right? They owned all the shit. They owned the capital, right? Sometimes literally.
Well, I mean, yeah, everything. Yeah.
So that's still capitalism for the king, right? Like the slave in the
Yeah, but they're
pre-Civil War time,
they're still bartering their labor to eat.
Yeah.
Right, which is all we're doing. The only thing
But
is
on
that
threat of like death. If you do not harvest the
I mean,
grain,
not
you
from-
will be murdered by the king's men.
it's a really good incentive to
it's
harvest
not
the
just
grain.
it's
Or a
not
really good
though.
disincentive not to.
You will just be.
But
Can't-
capitalism,
you won't be.
capitalism
No,
for the
let
elite
me
is not
finish-
capitalism.
Let me finish my fucking thing. I'll just murder you.
See, this is why I'm being oppressed.
I'm so glad this is recorded.
Yeah.
I mean, that was threat against my life.
So much.
Yeah, but it was,
Phil didn't hear a thing.
it
God.
was, What's your
The
point?
king isn't gonna threaten to necessarily murder a subject who is unwilling to work. They'll just kick them the fuck out
We'll let him starve to death.
and let them starve to death, which is essentially murdering them. But like that, they don't have to.
Or approaching the king's peace, and then you're home.
Yeah, but it's that or you like.
Or protesting while surf, I guess you just get stabbed.
It's that or you
Ugh.
leave and you
Stab.
live on your own. Like it's
Outlaw.
which is fucking hard. Did I mention that living in the bush is fucking hard and doing everything yourself is really fucking hard?
Yeah, I guess my question
Food
then...
scarcity is a pretty powerful motivator to keep you in that little society where the king runs everything.
All right, so let's just say that for this example, you have to go to the Wayback Machine. At one point, there was no such thing as capitalism, right? It's just people that just, whatever, bands of 50 to 150 people.
Villages.
Well, like,
Tribes.
in terms of our idea of capitalism, where our economy works on this fictional currency that is representing these things, that was established in some monarchies, but it really took place after the Renaissance, when laborers were able to mitigate the fact that 30 million people died, and they're like, oh shit, I'm more important than I was before because I lived through that.
We demand more rights and more access to goods.
That's the establishment of what capitalism is now.
But that just, instead of the arbitrariness of needs in the moment, you have currency that you can save for a rainy day or collect to buy those food.
Right, and that turns into free market capitalism, which is only like 200 years
But
old.
it's still the same thing. It's just easier. It's more efficient.
But it's not how we understand what capitalism is. Sure, there has to be some way of paying back or exchanging goods. That needs to be a very simplistic way. But does that necessarily have to be how capitalism is working today in America?
But let me ask your question to your question. Like,
rude.
Well,
let me add a question to your question. Is what he's saying, right?
No, I'm not going to answer your question at all, and it's going to be a completely different question.
Not answer.
It's
no, let me answer your question with a question that is not an answer.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're
saying. All right, okay.
Right.
What's your question that's not an answer?
Then.
For the thing that I asked that needs an answer.
So you're basically saying that capitalism will emerge again. If the world was just Wayback Machine back to hunters and gatherers or whatever, and you reset the clock, no matter how many times you play this game and how many times you redo this simulation, capitalism will form.
Yes, I think it will, but what's the next step?
After capitalism?
Yes.
The death of the planet.
So it is easier. It is obvious that the end of the world is easier to
absolutely.
than the end of capitalism.
You're absolutely correct.
I don't know. I think we're already evolving. Like cash and like actual physical currency is kind of going to the wayside. It's becoming all electronic now.
Oh,
that's kind of the next step.
Over the course, well, here's the thing.
It's gonna be real fictional money.
I have a lot of things to say about crypto.
It'll be fuck crypto, man. That's stupid.
That's the paperless money. That's the all electronic. It's the air quotes blockchain that all tech bros are like about.
Blockchain is different than what
but
electronic banking is now.
Whose economy compares itself to a Bitcoin? What currency in the world is like, hey, our currency is worth a third of a Bitcoin?
Well, no one.
Exactly, because it's not an established currency.
Right.
Exactly.
It's over the past year went 30% out, 80% up,
it's
50% down,
it's a pyramid
30%
scheme.
up,
Oh yeah,
20% down. Yeah, it's Lululemon for idiot men.
Yep, it is. It's just that. It is exactly that.
It's dumb.
But
utter
it's
horseshit.
different when you have a established, backed
when you have a government securing what this fictional money is worth.
Yes, exactly.
Sure.
It's still
What's
fictional.
the next step after capitalism then?
I said it. It was the death of the planet, man. Like, you're right. You're very right here. There's no way it's going away.
We just call it capitalism. It's still economic bartering. That's all it is. It's just the way our societies are working. That's all it is. So there's nothing.
So
it just evolves. It doesn't go away.
How we have now.
It just turns into something worse.
We produce
more transmissible.
We produce enough food currently to make sure 8 billion people have 3 meals a day.
Yeah, delicious meals.
Okay.
Why do we not have 8 billion people receiving 3 meals a day?
Because we need penis rocket ships.
Yeah, clearly.
That's what it is.
Because people are selfish, and they also have this weird idea in their head that if they have to work hard, everyone else has to work hard, even though they don't understand those circumstances that might prevent someone from having to, do the same kind of work, or they think their work is somehow more important than.
So how do we, as a species, get beyond that childish view?
Good luck. Good luck on that. That isn't capitalism. That's just fucking human nature. People are
human
terrible.
nature certainly hasn't changed over
People
the last 70,000 years.
Fucking terrible. Actually, I don't know how much it really has. I honestly don't think it's changed that much. Nature, I don't think it has.
Yeah, no, it's changed a lot.
I don't think it has.
Wait, so
Our first instinct upon seeing someone else isn't, oh god, I need to murder them. That was part of human nature.
Not really.
Yeah.
No.
Uh-huh.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I don't think so. You weren't there. You don't know.
I was.
You
I
were
passed
not.
lives.
I
was
think
a
Mike
tree.
is full of shit.
out of all of us that would know this,
Okay,
Micah
okay.
would know this.
Sorry, what now? Out of all of us who wouldn't know what?
Well, stay tuned for next
Tree.
episode where I'm gonna just say I don't understand that reference, but I will laugh like I did.
We'll
And
tell
also
you about
stay
it
tuned
later.
for the next episode where I piss Phil off so much he threatens to murder me too.
Alright, that already happened. Episode 2, 6,
Hey,
13.
not in 2. We agreed on having 2 microwaves.
You changed this subject 30 seconds in.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
episode 1 was the microwave episode. wasn't
No,
it?
one was politics.
Oh, yeah, that's
That
right.
set the tone for
Yeah.
the entire podcast.
Episode-
You know
episode
what?
one was
You know
me,
why I
the
thought
star.
microwaves? You know why I thought microwaves was number 1? Because I completely ignored the existence of that one.
We have a pilot episode.
I've been
that-
breaking down those walls though.
Oh, God.
we have episode 0, which no one else would hear, and that is fine.
Well, one thing.
Yes, butt plugs are far superior to anal beads. I'm really glad you came around to that.
One thing I know is
It's a
I'm
sound.
gonna need another drink.
Yeah, no.
Okay, editor, cut everything out after
Just
30 minutes.
pretty much. Yeah.
Nope. Leave it in.
Don't do it.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.